Welcome to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, 5-time Voice Arts Awards nominee, David Brower.
Thanks, Ellen. Here's part 2 of our interview with Robert Gerrish.
What's that lovely expression? Happy wife, happy life.
That's it. Yeah. If Mama's happy, we're all happy.
Yeah. I want my son to go out into the world and find. I want to model for my son. A good way to live. I want him to go out and do good, and I hope he does more good than I've managed to do.
Well, that's what I want. Modeling was just exactly the word I was going to go to, because, you say, or you hint at overnight success, and then we're reminded it took you 12 years to get this really where you wanted to go, to sell over 100,000 books, have 128,000 business people connected with you in some way, shape, or form, and all of them flying solo in a way that's meaningful to them, right? Because
yes.
You can create the model, you can model for them, you can coach them, but at the end of the day, they have, as you just said, they have to have the vision, they have to have the patience, they have to be able to turn left and turn right when they need to, and be able to get where they want to go in a meaningful way that just makes everybody in their life happy, and it's not overnight.
That's exactly right. It's not overnight, but then, I guess the thing with that as well is I don't know about you, David, but I'm not in a hurry. I don't want to stop work. I don't want to, it's so, this is my life. So for me, when I hear of overnight successes, as you rightly say, there really is no such thing. They all take time.
Right.
But there's, where's the rush? If you're enjoying it, and as you mentioned the word balance, balance is not something we do on weekends, or it shouldn't be.
No, correct.
Balance in my mind is something we should be doing every day. So, not long after we speak, I'm going to get out and I'm going to enjoy this sunshine for a little bit. I'm going to go for a decent walk. Now, when I do that, I'm not technically working, but what I do know, again, through some very wonderful research done by, I think it was California State University, that, our idea generation increases by 68% when we go for a walk.
Yeah.
So, I'm going for a walk, but I'm thinking about my work and what I'm going to do this afternoon and what I'm going to do tomorrow and how I can do it better. And
right.
Anyway, but so
there's a friend of mine in Austin, Texas. He's a songwriter, has been for years, and his favorite thing to do when he feels he needs a creative break is to just do what you're saying. He'll go for a walk, and he'll listen for people's comments as they walk by. Oh, that's a song title. Or he'll see a sign in a building. Oh, that's a song hook. Or he'll see a traffic accident. Oh, that. It's just, I couldn't agree with you more. It's when you can find wherever that freedom is to allow your creative juices to. Mine's on my Harley, to be honest with you. I love riding my Harley and taking short trips, long trips, whatever. And my mind is just, well, everybody says, well, who do you ride with? Nobody. Because that's
why you've got a Harley.
Yeah, it's just my therapy. It's just such a creative time.
That's beautiful to hear. But the trouble is I fear is that there are so many kind of myths in small business, where we get told these stories that, you've got to stay at your desk, you've got to concentrate on your work, you've got to be ideas. I've done a series of talks around Australia for many years now, and one of my favorite questions is, when do you have your best ideas? I ask a room full of people. I have never ever had anybody say, when I have my best ideas is when I'm staring at my monitor. You just don't. You have them when you're out walking, you're on your Harley, you're talking to friends,
or you're sitting on the pot.
They certainly come in all the time. The thing with, you mentioned, my current book, my latest book, The 1 Minute Commute, which is exactly as you mentioned. The idea is it's aimed at people that are sort of running a business from home where they have a very short commute. But basically, this is kind of a distillation of everything I picked up in the kind of 12 or actually more like 14 years of running the business. And what I found when we built this community was that is, when we started the forums, one of my concerns was, because I was doing a lot of coaching there, my concern was the minute we open a forum, all I'm going to do is I'm going to have, like 100,000 people asking me for free coaching advice.
Right.
That was my concern. Gosh, did I get that wrong? Because the minute we opened the door to the forums, the most beautiful thing happened, where we saw how many small businesses love helping other small businesses. We don't need experts. Basically, all we need is to allow a free and easy method for people to communicate with a sort of focus. So the focus on Flying Solo has always been, small, lovable, successful, viable small business. So when you've got a whole lot of people that are there with that common cause, the way that, we'd often find in the early days of the forums that someone would ask a question and I'd be sitting there agonizing, thinking, oh, how am I going to respond to that? What shall I say? What shall I say? By the time I thought of something vaguely coherent, there'd been about 20 responses from other people.
And that's something. I'm a voice actor by profession, and so when I started voice acting full time a dozen years ago or so, that was one of the things that I found very, very quickly is, at that time, it was the only industry I had ever been in or around or associated with or heard of where people willingly gave of themselves, and people look at our industry and they go, oh, God, it must be so competitive. Oh, my God, how do you do that? No. We all share, we all talk, we all communicate, and it created such a wonderful model in my brain to help me slow down, because I had just left a corporate job to start this, and it's like, so the last 12 years have been, okay, I'm happy, my wife's happy, we go on vacation, it's, whatever. It's just
you get the Harley out?
Oh, my God. Well, I started to today because it's in the 70s, but it broke down, so I got to get it fixed on Wednesday. But it's all right. It's a beautiful day, so I just walked the dog,
Oh, that's brilliant. But yeah, look, I think that, again, for anyone listening is just the belief and the knowledge that there are so many people out there that are willing to help.
Yeah.
We just have to find the right venue, whether it's a networking event, whether it's online, to feel safe and comfortable enough that we can talk openly about our concerns.
So does your book help people understand ways to pursue that?
Totally, yes. And look, I use, it's funny, I haven't actually totted up the number of words, but if I looked at how many words I've written versus how many words members of the community have written, it's probably about 50-50, I should think. No, I think I've written most of it, but it's observations of what other people have said. So yes, it's throughout the book. I talk about everything, really, well, all I know anyway, about how to run a really nice little business. We look at marketing, I look at time management, I look at productivity, I look at handling, any of the sort of big issues that confront us, whether it's invoicing, pricing, marketing, any of those things. I basically go through everything, but throughout it, I use community experience and case histories, because I think nothing is better than actually hearing real live, success stories of, I tried this and this happened.
No question.
I did this, you know what I mean?
And the things that you share have to go across all kinds of different business type styles. I mean, it's not a, I have to do this for a furniture store. I'm going to change this for an electronics store. I mean, the things you're talking about and the things that your community are talking about and willingly and openly share those things, it just feels like they're a huge help to any kind of small business.
Oh, I sincerely hope so. And, my strong belief is that most of us come to business with a skill of some sort, something that we think we can make a living from, whether it's with our hands or with our minds or with a mix of both. So we've got that skill. So the challenge in business is often how do I present that skill to the world, and who gives a damn? Who's going to care that I do this or that I make this? So that's what a lot of the book is there's an assumption that, okay, you kind of know what you're doing, but what you've got to find out is who cares about what you're doing. You've got to work out how you're going to position it, how you're going to phrase it, how you're going to promote it, how you're going to handle the back room, finance it, how you're going to manage to do all that and still feel like you're enjoying yourself. Because, I'm sure you're the same, David, we meet a lot of people who are wonderful practitioners, right? But behind the scenes, things aren't so good.
Absolutely.
Often there's, organization isn't there. And the truth is, we've got to do, if we're running our own little businesses, it's not that we have to do everything, because these days we can outsource it, to an incredible extent, but we need to understand it.
Yeah.
There's a difference between outsourcing and sort of abrogating responsibility. If you just get the number of people I bump into saying, "Oh, all I need is someone to do all my marketing for me." I go, "Yeah, okay. Well, you know everyone else."
Yeah, right.
But people can only do work for you if you understand what it is that you want them to do.
Yes.
And where things get risky is when you think, well, actually, I don't know how to do it, but I'll throw lots of money at this person and hopefully they'll fix it. I don't like that.
No, well, they have to. I mean, we all have a vision of some sort, but you have to get far enough into the vision, I think, to where you really start to get it. You really start to understand it. You really start to go, "Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's awful," and kind of get closer and closer to your vision, to where you understand it enough to where you trust it, to where you can bring one or two people in, or whatever the number is, so they can legitimately buy into your vision and your plan because you're on the same page,
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and look, and I think that in my sort of experience out of small business is and I'm just thinking before I say this whether I'm going to upset anyone, but generally speaking, I don't think small business is terribly tough. I mean, it can be hard work, but there's not, if you break down whether it's marketing, finance, administration, all of those things, they're all doable. Yes. They're all quite doable. And as business owners, we just need to understand enough to either do it ourselves or to go, okay, I understand that, but I don't enjoy it, so I'm going to get someone else to do that for me.
Exactly.
But it's none of it. Like I used to be an independent sort of marketing consultant for a while before we sold our business to Saatchi's. And as a marketing consultant, I would make marketing sound incredibly difficult, because then I can charge big fees. But in reality, there's nothing difficult about marketing. There's nothing difficult. We just need to. All we need, you can buy a book on marketing, a Seth Godin book or something for $25.
Sure.
And I promise you you start it in the morning, you'll be finished by the afternoon, and you'll know pretty well all you need to know about the basics of marketing. And, what worries me is when I see people that go out and sign up to have an Instagram expert or a Facebook expert or a LinkedIn, and they will, if you're not careful, they'll relieve you of an awful lot of money. But it's just so important that as business owners that we understand what it is we're trying to achieve, because the avenue, the platform that it goes on, that's the second thing.
You bet.
That's the secondary thing. Anyway,
the other thing about that, I think, is we all live, no matter where we are in the world, I think, in business anyway, we all kind of live in that immediate gratification place, right? We're all looking for the silver bullet. We want to get there before the other guy. We're at point A. We need to be at point B tomorrow. And man, if you can just catch your breath and realize what you're saying, that patience is good, a vision is good, having balance is good, don't be in a hurry is good, don't spend $25,000 on something that's not going to help you. I mean, there's lots of, if people can slow down and think and embrace who they are, and where they want to get to, it could be a whole different deal, Yeah,
look, I've just been thinking, I'm not sure whether this analogy will work, but, you've got a Harley parked in your garage or under your house. There's a beautiful machine. Now, you imagine that's your business. Now, when you go out on that machine, it's not the fastest machine on the road. A Honda or something else will, Ducati will probably go faster than you. It's not the lightest thing on the road. It's not the most modern thing on the road, but it's a piece of art. It's a beautiful machine.
Correct.
And every now and again, it needs a little, you need to wheel it under the house and do a little bit of tinkering with it so that it runs. The same with business is we don't have to be the fastest. We don't have to be the lightest. We don't have to be the slickest. What we have to be is what we want to be. Be the business we want to swing our leg over and get on and go for a ride.
I love that.
I'm not sure if it really works, but
totally works.
That's my
totally
view
works.
of business.
Yeah.
Is if we're forever wanting to be the fastest and the quickest and the lightest and the most nimble, you'll drive yourself nuts doing that. Whereas just saying, you know what, this is a classic business here. This is a classic piece of machinery. I'm going to maintain it. Yes, I'm going to update it now and again. I'm going to do things, but more than anything, I want it to keep doing what it's doing, so that you can live the rest of your life. Your Harley is not your life, but gosh, it's a little thing that you can sit and look at. And I've got a sadly, when part of the deal when I got married was that I'd stop riding motorbikes, which I'm still not. I test Jane every year. I said, I was thinking about getting a motorbike. And I've noticed that as each year goes by, we're into 20-something years of marriage, she seems to care a little less. So with a bit of luck, I might be able to get my license back in a couple of years.
Well, I'll share a short story with you because we only have 2 or 3 minutes left. But
sure.
When I wanted to get a motorcycle and had the same kind of conversations or lack of conversations, and I would tell my wife, I said, when you go up into Rocky Mountain National Park and you take a hike and you're up there for a few hours and you come back down and your shoulders are dropped and your cheeks are red and your oxygen's incredible and your smile is so wide that your cheeks hurt. Well, yeah. I said, well, that's how I feel on my Harley.
Oh,
and she said,
use that.
She said, well, you better go get one then.
Oh, that's gold. I'm so going to use that. That's great.
Isn't that funny? So like I said, we just have a couple of minutes left. I want people to know how they can reach out to you, get your books, learn more about how easy it is, quote unquote, to really turn your skills into a business you'll love, be your own boss, work from home, and not believe all the hype and oh my God,
the hustle.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's that's very kind. So there's a number of ways. First is the book is called The 1 Minute Commute. It's you can buy it on Amazon. It's on audible.com. So there's an audio version of the book as well. And so, the usual places, I guess. And it's also available at my website, which is robertgerrish.com. That's Gerrish. I also do a fortnightly podcast called Rekindle. Nice. Where I look at kind of what it takes to stay upbeat and energized in your business. So I talk with people that are been running a business for a while, and what I'm trying to understand is, because what worries me more than anything, David, is that with businesses that have kind of got to the point where yes, they're viable businesses, they're successful businesses, but how do we keep going? How do we, a bit like your Harley again, how do we manage to walk up to it and think, yes, I want to take this beauty for a ride?
Yeah.
How do we keep doing that day after day, year after year? And that's what I'm on a quest to so that's basically what my next book will be about. Absolutely. So anyway, people can find me through Rekindle. But anywhere, robertgerrish.com, send me a note. I'd love to hear from anybody who's listening. Anything I can help anybody with, I'll do my best.
Terrific. And I'm signing up for your podcast. I'm just checking it out. I'm going, oh my gosh, I got to get all over this.
Kind.
So again, folks, it's Robert Gerrish, GERRISH.com. You can learn more about him, his services. You can subscribe to his newsletter, his podcast, reach out to him. There's a bunch of epiphanies just waiting for you. You just got to go there and spend a few minutes, I swear to goodness. So, Robert, I can't thank you enough, man, and have a wonderful sunshine day filled with joy and happiness there in Australia.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on the show, David.
Listen to Your 20-Minute Podcast with David Brower on the go. Downloads are available on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any podcast app, and on our website at davidbrowervo.com/Your 20-Minute Podcast. Until next time, thank you for listening.